Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurmilitanena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Can you all hear me clearly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Bhakti Charu Maharaj was one of the most fortunate devotees. Of course, we are all fortunate to come to Krishna consciousness, but he was especially fortunate because he got his first and second initiation and third initiation just a few months later. Devotees were wondering at that time. We have to wait for. Can you all hear me clearly?
Yes, ma'am.
They were saying we have to wait for years and years, but Bhakti Charu got all his initiations very fast. So Bhakti Charu Swami got influenced by Prabhupada's books when he read this Nectar Devotion. He was looking for a spiritual guide. Someone gave him a book, Nectar Devotion. And after he read that book, he decided, this is what I should be doing. He is my guru. And he took the proper instructions very, very seriously. We all know that he served as Prabhupada's servant. And at that time when he joined, we didn't have any books in Bengali, or very few. Bhakti Charu was very creative. He researched, he found Prabhupada's articles in Bengali that have not been published. He published all those in a book called Gita Gyan. And then Prabhupada gave him this responsibility of translating his books in Bengali language. And Bhakti Charu took this assignment very, very seriously. I understand that he used to get up at 12 o'clock in the night and start translating these books till morning. This was his dedication. And Prabhupada was very, very pleased by seeing Bhakti Charu's dedication. And they made a goal that by the centennial year, we should have all the proper books ready in Bengali. And with Bhakti Charu Swami's supervision, all the proper books were ready by centennial. Bhakti Charu has numerous achievements. Of course, this is one of his main achievements, translating Prabhupada's books. He built his temple in Ujjain in a period of 10 months. In India, we've all built many temples, but nobody has ever built a temple in 10 months. I told Bhakti Charu Swami, we should give you a special award for building the fastest temple. And it's a beautiful temple, beautifully designed, and beautiful deities, etc. This was a major achievement. Then, as you probably know, Bhakti Charu Swami, very creative. He was thinking of ways of Prabhupada's glories to be broadcasted. And he came up with this unique idea of making a serial for the life of Prabhupada. I believe it was 100 serials that were produced featuring Prabhupada's Leela from the time he appeared on the planet. And initially, It was just being distributed among his devotees. But then by Bhakti Charu's hard work and determination, he was able to convince Doordarshan. Doordarshan was a national channel at that time to broadcast. And as a result of that, millions of people in India who didn't know much about Prabhupada were exposed to Prabhupada and they became Krishna conscious. He was very creative and he had many ideas how to spread Krishna consciousness. Another feature of this is that he organized the production of deities and altars, etc. Devotees in India devotees all over the world were having a hard time getting reliable suppliers. And Bhakti Charu Swami organized this and made it available to devotees at very, very reasonable rates. So Prabhupada gave us a philosophy, and Bhakti Charu Swami took this philosophy and presented it everywhere. Bhakti Charu Swami was noted for being extremely friendly with everyone. I met many devotees, and I haven't met one devotee who ever said Maharaj was not polite and sweet with him. In my relationship with him, he was overkind. He appreciated the way Krishna consciousness is spread in Delhi. And he was always very kind and generous. And Bhakti Charu Swami was friendly, polite, and he was always ready to help others. This is the quality of a Vaishnava. And he was also very powerful preacher, scholar, and he had the knack of preaching to intellectuals and people from the higher sections of society. ISKCON wasn't so successful in preaching to the higher sections of society. Bhakti Charu Swami did a good job. He cultivated high-class people all over the world. And he was regularly traveling all over the world. Now, we know that Bhakti Charu Swami was very kind, encouraging, etc. As his followers, what should we do? Prabhupada dedicates the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam to his spiritual master. And he says, he lives forever by divine instruction, and the follower lives with him. The pure spiritual master manifests himself in two ways, Vapu and Vani. Vapu, we all know, is temporary. It's there today, tomorrow is going to go. Vani is eternal. So Prabhupada wanted us to follow his Vani. And similarly, disciples of Bhakti Charu Swami, they should not feel left out. Bhakti Charu Swami's instructions are there, and his instructions are 100% similar to Prabhupada's instructions. Bhakti Charu was very, very strict on the principle of ISKCON, staying in ISKCON and working together. Bhakti Charu Swami regularly told, he would quote Prabhupada's statement Your love for me will be shown by how you cooperate. So he wanted us to cooperate. He wanted us to work together. And in all his lectures, darshans, classes, we saw this theme coming out. Love for me will be shown how we cooperate. So in ISKCON, the devotees from all over the world, and they have different opinions, but our goal should be to work together. And if somebody can't work together, then that will create a disturbance. So Bhakti Charu Swami emphasized this point. Even in the initiations that he gave, he would point out that these initiations are on behalf of Prabhupada. In other words, he tried to inject Prabhupada's consciousness, Prabhupada's position everywhere. So as his disciples, no doubt we are all aggrieved that Maharaj has departed. Frankly, no one expected him to depart so fast. We all participated in the Indian Bureau meeting just 3 weeks, just about 4 weeks ago, right before he left for America. And we also had an exchange in that meeting. So, and we were all shocked when we heard about his illness that subsequently led to his departure. As followers, we should follow Bhakti Charu Swami's teachings. He wanted everyone to stay within ISKCON. He wanted everyone to work together. He wanted everyone to follow the GBC body. And he wanted everyone to dedicate themselves to Prabhupada's teaching. So, as followers, we should follow these instructions. And if we follow these instructions, we will feel Bhakti Charu Swami's presence. And ISKCON, I often maintain, like a joint family. Like in India, you used to have the joint family system where the father, uncle, cousins would all stay together under the same roof. So in ISKCON we have the father, namely the spiritual master, and uncles, his godbrothers and godsisters, all living together. So one is never isolated. One is never isolated. One is always in association of uncles and aunties. And so the disciples of Bhakti Charu Swami should have no fear, no anxiety, because the uncles and aunts are there to look after all the devotees. So I'm happy you have come here today. Sulakshana told me you must come. And I'm happy to hear Bhakti Charu Swami's glories. His glories are unlimited. We have limited time. And my contribution is going to be to try and preach and take care of all his disciples that are in my zone. He has many disciples working with in our zone to take care of them. And if we follow his instruction and proper instruction, then you will not miss Bhakti Charu's presence. Prabhupada said, I never missed my spiritual master's association even for a minute, because he was always engaged following his instructions. Bhakti Charu Swami was an intellectual. He was a very powerful preacher. He gave very philosophical lessons and was a very sweet singer. In fact, he is a favorite singer of mine and many other devotees around the world. He used to sing very nice bhajans and he attracted a lot of people to Krishna consciousness. So we hope that all his followers will take his instructions to seriously and Bhakti Charu's memory will always be there. We all come here under Krishna's plan. Krishna's plan is not easy to understand all the time. But we come here under Krishna's plan and we depart also according to Krishna's plan. So his departure was a little tragic, but that's Krishna's plan. And I'm sure that Bhakti Charu Swami, with his dedication to Prabhupada and the hard work that he has put, Prabhupada is very pleased and he's preaching according to Prabhupada's plan in some other part of the world. Bhakti Charu Swami ki, Hare Krishna.